And we're live. I'll wait a second till a few people join us. And how does TikTok Live even work? Joe, what did you get me into? Okay. All right. So, hi, personally designed balloons. Hello, everybody that's joining in. I see people joining in. We'll give it a minute and then we'll get started. I decided to keep it simple today. We're going to make one of our balloon bouquets. We do a lot of helium and we sell a lot of balloon bouquets. We have an average of 10 to 15 that go out every week. And we have one going out tomorrow. So I figured let's create it together with everybody. Hello to everybody that's joining, and if you guys have any questions, please ask away. Hi. All right, let's see. So we're gonna make a custom balloon bouquet for a client. Her daughter's turning 1, and I already have the things out. Let's see. So we're gonna start with making a deco bubble balloon. Got this from having a party. Most of my supplies are from there. Let's see. We're going to fill this with balloons inside, mini 5-inch balloons inside. This is a 24-inch deco bubble. I use both. I use 24 and I use 20, but I prefer 24 for larger bouquets and customization. I just feel like they look a little nicer. Just gonna take out our 5-inch minis. I have Latex rose, I have Latex pink, I have metallic deluxe lilac, and there was one more color. I have Tex blossom. Mom wanted something pink, said she loves Minnie Mouse, so we're gonna add a Minnie Mouse balloon in there. Just go from there. All right. So quick question for all of you guys who actually make balloons like this. How many balloons do you like putting inside a 24-inch deco bubble? I like putting in 12. I feel like that's like the perfect balance. But how many balloons do you guys like putting in? Move you guys just a little bit so you can see me over there. Here's my giant helium tank and the balloon. The inflator, that's a 60 by 40. For most of my helium balloons, I use a 60 by 40. I only use 100% helium when it's a double stuffed balloon, or if it's a gender reveal balloon, because I feel like it needs that quick. And I fill both my 5 inches as well as my deco bubble with helium. Just because I noticed that if you fill your 5 inches with air and then fill the deco bubble with helium, the 5 inches just become smaller. Not sure how that works, but it happens. I'm gonna use a dowel. It's a chopstick. I'm just gonna use that to put this 5-inch in and start inflating. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Feel free to. I'm trying to answer. I will try to answer as many of them as I can. Hi, Erica. You're great too. Love you. Erica is, she owns a local soft play company, Adventurous Playground, and she's awesome. She's one of the best frienders anybody can have. So again, I'll insert my 5-inch. Inflated. I like pressing on them. Oval balloons are the bane of my existence. I absolutely dislike them, so I try to make my balloons as round as I can. Then I just take it out, stretch it, tie it, and then cut the remaining part off so it looks nice and clean like this. Does anybody put in more balloons than 12? I feel like when I personalize it, it hides the personalization. What do you guys think? Yeah, I just feel like it hides the personalization. It's not too clear, or it looks too full. So I prefer to keep it at 11 or 12. Go on to Blossom. One of my favorite shades from Latex. It's such a gorgeous shade. I mean, Latex in general makes beautiful shades. But this, if you ask me about my favorite from Latex, it has to be Blossom. Even though universally I love Goldenrod. Absolutely love Goldenrod. Okay. So many people joining in. Fortune, these are they're very simple to make. It can be intimidating, but you should try them. They're very simple to make. And cricket's fun. I've like tried other things. I keep coming back to the cricket. It's simple, it's easy, it's very user friendly. The only thing I suggest with cricket is always print out your things early and don't wait till the last day, because they have all these updates that happen out of the blue, and sometimes they do leave you hanging, or you're in a rush and the software starts updating. That's the only thing I don't like about Cricut. But apart from that, it's so worth it. Oh crap. Alright, so if you ever have a balloon stuck like this, oh, this one came out easy, so I don't even know how to show you guys how to take it out. But normally I use a pair of tweezers to get it out. This one just came out on its own, which is great. Can you guys see everything? Let me see. Awesome. So I'll periodically check if there's any questions or anything that come up that you guys have. Feel free to ask, whether it's about this bouquet or anything else. I don't know it all, but I'll try to answer as much as I can. And I'm sure many of you guys know how to make these. But one thing that I've learned, and actually Feathered Fox mentioned this, you learn something new every single time. It might just be a little thing that somebody else does and they do it differently. So I really enjoy watching these lives. And having a party, I mean, most of the time you're paying for classes. So the fact that they provide this platform where you can learn from balloon artists all around the country, it's so cool. You get to learn about different things, how to do different things. Even if you know how to do something, you pick up on something new here and there. Let's see. So we have 4 more balloons left, and then we'll inflate our deco bubble. Where is everybody else from over here? I would love to know where everybody's joining in from. Where is everybody else located? Fortune, I have been in business since 2020. I started at the very start, like kind of like in the middle start of COVID, and I just haven't looked back ever since. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and I'm finally moving out of my basement. Mississippi, Georgia, Virginia. Oh my God, we have people from so many different, Pennsylvania, so many different places. Hi guys, thanks for joining. All right. So if you're doing a 20-inch bubble, I would suggest doing maybe 9 or 10. And if you're doing 24-inch, my preference is 11 to 12 inch by 5-inch balloons. Sometimes I lessen the amount if I use, sometimes I will use a 9-inch balloon or 2 in there just to kind of change the sizing inside. And if I do that, then I'll reduce the number of 5 inches I will use. So this is the last 5 inch I'm about to put in. I'll do a close-up so you guys can see. This is my deco bubble. I'll put the 5 inch on this chopstick that I have. I love using this. It's a wooden chopstick. It doesn't splinter because it's nicely, it's nice and straight. I'll put it inside, and then I will use my inflator to inflate it. Press on it a little bit just so it's nice and round. I'll pull this out from the deco bubble and tie it outside. Once it's tied, I'll cut the remaining part off. You can use your scissors. I usually use the cutter that's already available on the inflator. So here we have 12 5-inch minis in our deco bubble, and now we'll inflate the bubble. So when you're inflating your bubble, as many of you guys already probably know, these lines, you don't want to leave them. This is not how much you're supposed to inflate them. You're supposed to continue going, and you're almost supposed to stop when the lines are almost gone. So I normally stop when there's just like, you guys can see this many lines left. This is because if it expands in the heat, it still has some room to expand. And if you live somewhere where it gets really cold, I'm in Massachusetts, New England, it gets super cold over here. Your balloon will shrink, which will cause your vinyl to shrink. But as soon as you take it inside in a nice warmer environment, it'll be back to normal. So the way I tie this is I use a 260. I'll cut the 260 in half, and I will wrap it around the bubble once. Once it's wrapped, I'll tie a knot. K-Moon, I'm just cutting them off, cutting the ends off, just so it looks a little neat as compared to the ends hanging around. Let's see. So once I've tied this, do you guys like see this bubble? You don't want that, because just to make sure that your bubble lasts longer, we try to like tie it as tightly as possible. But so what I do is I like just wrapping it around that knot that I made. I stretch on the 260 and I wrap it around, and I do it about 10 times to 12 times. Let's see, like wrapped this around, and once I've wrapped it around for about 10 to 12 times, I'll tie a knot. I mean, you find your happy medium, but this is what works for me. Once I've tied the knot, I'll go ahead and use the other part of the 260 and then go the opposite way. Can you see it? Sorry. Opposite way, and do the same exact thing 10 to 12 more times. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so what this does is it just creates, it secures it so nicely. If you look over here, that bubble is almost gone. You want this area to be as flat as possible, because that'll stop your bubble balloon from leaking out more air. And again, always leave some, I think this is more than I normally usually leave, but some lines, there's a heat wave coming in Massachusetts, so I think for over here, this should be fine. And here you go, you have your deco bubble. I will either tie it with a nice ribbon, but this is going inside in a bouquet. So what I do is I'll use my curling ribbon, and I will tie 2 knots around it, and then I'll let it go. Just tie 2 knots and let it go. How do you guys cut your curling ribbon? I used to just measure it and cut it until I found, I saw this reel by Charming Garlands where she showed how she has 2 different points and she just wraps the curling ribbon around and then cuts it. Just so genius, because it saves you so much time. It's amazing. It's changed my life. So she's not here, she's not live, but if she's watching, thank you for that. So our second balloon that we'll do is a jumbo. This is a Latex 36-inch pink color jumbo. I'll fill this up with high float. A tip that I recently learned: if you put a 5-inch balloon on top of this nozzle for your high float, it wouldn't dry up. So whether you use the small one, I normally like using this size. I have this giant gallon of high float. Again, you can get all of this from having a party, but I just pour in more anytime this is running out. And it's super simple, super easy. This specific pump also comes with sizers. We've been doing it for so long. Like, we do so many helium balloons that at this point none of us need sizers. But if you do, that's like a great, like if you're starting out with helium or you don't know how much high float to put in, those sizers are a good starting point. Normally you need a whole pump for a 36-inch balloon. Got the whole pump. Do this. I'm going to use my high float again, so I'm not going to put more helium in. And then just make sure your high float is spread throughout the thing. Again, this is a 60-40. If you don't have a 60-40 inflator, what you can do is you can fill your jumbo balloons with some air, and then put the I'm blanking out. Fill the remaining of the balloon with helium, just so you have a healthy, like the 60. You can do the 60-40 combination that way too. We're gonna quickly make our tassel for this jumbo balloon. I figured I'll just make it with you guys. So I cut my ribbon. I have some gift paper, tissue paper that's wrapped. There's 3 pieces of each color. There's 4 colors in here. I like using 12. I feel like that doesn't make my tassel too heavy or too light, and it's nice and fluffy. Let me just, so you guys can see too. So there's 12 sheets of tissue paper, gift wrapping tissue paper. There's so many names for it. What does that do for the balloons? Marie, what does what do for the balloons? I completely missed the high float. The high float, 12 is my number, Fortune. You're right. The high float just makes the helium balloons last longer. Normally without high float, they'll go down a lot faster. The high float will make them last longer, and they'll stay afloat for longer periods of time. So I'll just staple quickly 4 or 5 staples, and then I'll use my paper cutter and quickly cut this tassel. I love doing, I've seen some people do those crepe paper tassels, which look great. I like making these custom tassels because it adds a nice custom touch to whatever you're making, and it's more personalized. It looks better. I was listening to a podcast by Sarah Mayer, the Bright Balloon, and in one of her podcasts she mentioned that you can serve your clients with one or two of the 3 things, right? You can be cheap, you can be What were the other two things? You can be cheap, you can be high quality, or you can be just like, or you can provide them with convenience. So I'm gonna fluff this out. And I think I like providing the high quality and the convenience part. I'm not cheap, but definitely enjoy the convenience part. And high flow gives that high quality because their balloons will last a lot longer. All right. So now that we have our tassel, and it just barely took 3 to 4 minutes to make this. Now that we have our tassel, I'm going to inflate our jumbo. When they start making like a V shape down here, I don't like that V shape, so I try to keep my jumbos at 24 to 28 inch at max, and then I'll give the jumbo a nice squeeze to make it nice and round. I like the jumbos nice and round. For tying my tassel into the jumbo, I always like running the ribbon through this little tie knot that I create instead of tying it separately, because not only does that give me room to adjust things if I need to, it also keeps it more secure. It's just it floats better. I don't know how to explain it. It floats better. And then I cut off the remaining part of the leftover part of the balloon at the bottom. All right, so here's our jumbo. I'm gonna quickly inflate the other helium balloons that we have. We have a couple of different foils. There's the Minnie Mouse. There's like a happy pink sunshine balloon and 2 orbs. These are 16-inch orbs by Anagram. And I will quickly turn my inflator upside down so I have the foil side to inflate the Mylars. And a good thing about this inflator is it'll automatically stop when inflating your foil. As I say that, my foil pops. It stops. I promise you guys, it stops. It doesn't overinflate. Let me go get another Minnie Mouse balloon. Alright, I'm back with more Minnie Mouse balloons, and hopefully they won't pop. But the inflator normally, what happened? The inflator stops when the balloon's completely inflated. So this was a first for me. See, it stopped. It's not inflating no more. There you go. So, here's our Minnie Mouse. And how long does, let's see. K-Moon, about 3 years. We're disputing get those balloons. I got those balloons from having a party. The helium cylinder, I mean, you can get them from I get them from a local welding company. What I would suggest is looking around and shopping for prices, because there's a couple of places in Massachusetts that provide helium, but they're not, helium's not cheap. Helium is extremely expensive. So shop around and price your balloons according to that. So what I you normally see people sometimes like tie ribbons right over here. I don't like that. I don't like this little nub showing. So I normally just put my ribbon in the middle, fold it in half, and then fold it some more until I've reached the end. Once I've reached the end, I tie a tight knot, and then I'll tie another tight knot, and there you go. This is how I do it. What was I about to say? Another way you guys can do it, in case I know some of these balloons don't have this nub right in the middle. You can get adhesive tabs. They're from Premium Convent, and they're available on Having a Party's website. You can get those tabs, and they make it super easy. So you can just tie your ribbon to the tab. It looks neat. Presentation is everything, guys. For me, presentation is everything. So when your work looks neat, it looks nice, it makes you stand out. It makes your work look nicer than somebody else who's doing balloons. So I feel like just giving that a little extra in your presentation always just makes your work look nicer than somebody who just does the job and calls it a day. But I always like personalizing things for my client. I feel like my clients love that. I love that. Things are personalized. Come on. Okay, this is good. So this is our happy sunshine balloon. Let's see. Hi, where do you buy the helium cylinder? I get, where is it? Yes, Nara, I get my helium cylinder from a local welding company. Whoops. And this, no, this is not happen. This is why you need to have a net, which I don't at the moment. Give me a second. But most of your local welding companies around should offer helium. Some balloon, like if there's a local balloon company, sometimes they offer it too, but just don't get the Party City helium cylinders. They're not good. They will barely last you. They're expensive. So same thing here. I'm gonna fold this little nub just so it doesn't show. And if there's any hang tags on top of your foils, please cut them off. They don't look nice when they're showing. It's just a pet peeve. I don't like them. It just, again, it looks a lot neater when you don't have those tabs hanging everywhere. So here's that. Now we're going to quickly inflate these orbs the same exact way. The only difference is the orbs you inflate using the latex inflator instead of the foil inflator, even though they're Mylars. I'm short, Lola. Hi. I can't jump. Jumping won't help. Thank you, user. Long number named. Thank you. That's a cute balloon, yeah. Can you give me an idea which company sells here? Where are you located, Yasnera? Like, are you in Massachusetts? I can tell you about a Massachusetts company. I can tell you about my vendor, if you'd like. You want to do the same thing like you do with your deco bubbles. You don't want to underinflate. You want to make sure it's nice and round, but you do want to leave some lines over here just in case it's hot so your balloons can expand. You know what, Joe? I was so nervous, guys, about this whole thing. And Joe was like, you'll be fine. People don't even realize how long they've been talking. And I've never done a live. Believe it or not, I've been in business for 3 years and I've never done a live. I just do the balloons, post the picture, and call it a day. And I can't stop talking, so thank you for joining me here. I'm really enjoying this. I really am enjoying this. Yes, orbs with helium look amazing, especially when you're doing them as in a suspended ceiling. Just, they're such gorgeous balloons and they come in such nice colors. I try to have an orb or two in most of my bouquets. Again, I just feel like they look so gorgeous. They look luxurious. They just don't look basic. And they're just gorgeous. Anything that your next door balloon person can't do. Does anybody feel like there's so many DIY people popping up who's like, I can do balloons? There's people who can actually do balloons, and then there's I can do balloon people. I love everybody though. Like just learn how to do them properly. That's all I say or suggest. Let's see. So the last thing we're gonna do for this helium bundle real quick is we're going to inflate our latex balloons. I think 4 should be enough for this. I don't think we need 8. So I'm going to quickly put high float in my balloons. Give them a little rub. For an 11-inch balloon, normally a pea-sized high float amount is enough. This is twice as pea size, pretty much 2 peas, I would say. But I've been doing this for a while. If you're just starting out with helium, because it took me a while to start out with helium. My first year in business, I didn't know where to get helium from, and I didn't do helium. I would suggest using the sizers because it really helps you get a grip on how much helium is needed. And once I'm done with my high float, I'm just going to take this 260 and put it on top of this just to make sure it stays nice and wet inside and doesn't dry up on me. I'm going to quickly inflate these are 16 inches. I try not to do 11 inches. I feel like 16 inches just look a lot bigger, nicer. Again, they add the luxury to your balloons on them. And I don't use headphones when I'm inflating. I've been told I'll go deaf soon, but I can't. I like being able to hear what's happening around me. So for my balloons, again, I'll push them, press them. High float helps. So I put high float. This is high float. What I put inside, it makes the balloons float longer. They last longer. With helium, normally without high float, they have a life of maybe 8 to 10 hours, and they'll deflate and start coming down. But with high float, something like this will float for at least 24 hours. Don't promise anything to your clients. That's what I always say when I drop off the balloons. This is it. If anything happens, not on me, but for the most part, they will float for a while. Okay. So I'm thinking of starting a business with balloons. What do you advise? How can I start? Honestly, I would start by taking some classes or learning. See who everybody does balloons differently. I would see whose work I like. Whose work really resonates with my style, and then take some classes from them, just so I know what I'm doing before I start working publicly and doing work with clients. That's what I would do. But then that's not what I did. I knew how to do balloons. I didn't know how to do balloons as nicely as I do them now. But at that time, there weren't many classes being offered, or at least I didn't know of them. So I just went and YouTube a couple of videos and started from over there. So you can absolutely just go on YouTube and learn too. There's nothing wrong with that. We all learn. We all get better with practice and from learning. At this point, I've taken several classes, and I've picked up these little tips and tricks. But at the same time, I've also taught myself several things. So one thing I do with my balloons, again, same thing as the jumbo, I will pass my ribbon through it. I have had trauma of the ribbon coming undone when it's a very windy day and my balloons just flew away. This secures the ribbon in nice and tight inside. And you won't, whoop! Okay, first balloon down. Some more pink, shall we? Let's put some high float. And I don't teach classes. I honestly don't. This is my first time ever coming live and teaching something that I do. I always overthink it, and I'm like, people know this. People don't need to know this. Even though I enjoy learning about things I even know how to do, because I'll pick up a thing or two every single time. I don't teach classes, but there's so many people who do. You can always, again, the Latex experience was amazing. They taught several classes, these balloon conference, balloon boss, float. You learn so much from over there. Then Feathered Fox has some classes, We Balloons has classes. I've learned from all of them. And I would highly suggest taking their Balloons Boutique has some classes. They're all, I mean, I learned so much from their classes. So how much high flow does it require? I put about 2p size, like amount. This specific, what is it called? I'm blanking out on the name. This nozzle comes with sizers. I don't have them on me anymore because I don't use them, but it comes with those sizers and it tells you how much you need. So you can put that sizer on. That'll help you decide. They'll help you kind of guide you on how much high float you need. So now that we've inflated all the balloons for this bouquet, what we're going to do is we're going to put our vinyl on to give it that nice custom look. You can use any vinyl. I like using this one because it has the grid lines on it and it helps me visualize when it's straight. I always put this vinyl somewhere on my clothes to get the stickiness out. How do I find you on TikTok? I am not on TikTok, my friend Lydia. I am on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram, Wowlloons. It's WOWLLOONS. Or you can follow Having a Party because they have amazing content over here too. But you can find me on Instagram. It's Wowlloons. It's WOWLLOONS. You can find me there. So now that I've done, it's not as sticky anymore. We're going to do the bubble balloon first. Just place your transfer tape on your vinyl. I've already printed out my vinyl. I use a Cricut, as I told earlier. I enjoy the user friendliness of it. Just don't enjoy the frequent updates. And here's our glue. So the way I do it is I will put this on my desk and I'll make sure it's nice and straight. Some people put them on weights and then put their vinyls on. I just don't do a good job of doing that. So the way I like doing it is I'll put this against something. So right now it's against my Cricut and my belly. And then once it's centered, I will put, whoop! You know what? I'll use the other method. So there's this chair that I have. And it fits the balloon perfectly inside of it. So, here, look. Not even touching it. It's perfectly in. You guys see? Yep. Can you guys see? Once it's centered, this is the way I find it doing it easier and my vinyl comes out perfectly. I will place my vinyl And this is where the grid lines are helpful too, because I'll know if I'm placing it straight. When you're placing your vinyl on a deco bubble, just be a little careful because it sticks almost immediately as compared to the latex one where it will come off. So if you're not placing it in the right place, it might just mess up your vinyl and you will have to peel it off and go through the whole spiel, which isn't fun. And then once it's done, peel it off. I like using black the most on my deco bubbles because it pops, especially with the different colored balloons inside. But you can customize your vinyls with so many colors. This is swoosh. And if there's any bubbles, I normally just lift that part of the vinyl with my finger or my nail, and I'll smooth it out. Another way you can do it is you can cut, so you can just like snip the vinyl from that place and then attach it. Doesn't always come out perfect, but that's the job. Messed up the L over here, guys. Here you go. Alright, so we have our vinyl on. We have, whoops, missed this. And we have Happy Birthday Olivia. And it's nice and centered, looks nice. Let this one go. How much high float? Okay. How do I find you on TikTok? Nothing else. I haven't missed anything. Almost done, guys. Next, we have our helium jumbo. This vinyl is not enough for it, but again, I'm used to doing this so often that I feel like it'll be fine. The jumbo, I always like kind of laying down because you can't put it somewhere, or I just put my foot on it. So it's a little stable. Flip your vinyl sheet and then peel it off. I feel like it comes off a lot easier than when you're trying to peel off the vinyl, the transfer tape off of the sheet. There you go. It's nice and centered. I'll put my jumbo down and quickly. You can use a squeegee. I just use my hand. Squeegee's too much work. Just use the method that's most efficient for you. Some people I've seen them use painter's tape to transfer, and their vinyl comes out so perfect. I have painter tape in my toolbox for emergencies, but again, it's only for emergencies. I try to stay away from it because I can't see where the vinyl is going, and that stresses me out. If you rip a little bit of your vinyl or something like that happens, don't worry about it. It looks really fun once it's put together. So here we have Happy First, Olivia. And now on the very last part, what I do, I'm just going to use my very first inflator that I got from having a party too. I still like using this one. I use my Conman Premium Air Force for when I have big jogs, but for my 5 inches, this is still my go-to. I still enjoy this. It's so nice. And it's cheap. So when you're starting out, it's the perfect inflator. Awesome. Thanks for answering, Mrs. Daydream. Having a Party will post this on their page, so you'll be able to see the whole video there. I just inflate these 5-inch balloons. Again, I like rounding them. I'll inflate about 8 of those. And make a cluster. This will serve as the base of the bouquet, and I will add a water weight to it. I do use regular weights too, which you can find on Having a Party's website, but that's when I'm in a bind. I usually like adding this little cluster because it just looks super cute. It looks very, very cute when it's put together. For making my water weight, what I do is I'll take 2 11-inch balloons and I will put one inside the other. You can use your dowel, or you can just fold your balloon and put it inside, whatever works for you. Just make sure you double it up, because if one balloon pops, at least there wouldn't be water everywhere. It'll just pop into the second balloon. And then I put some water in this. Let me go quickly make this water weight. I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back. So here's my water weight. I'll just quickly tie a knot. If you're using more jumbos, make sure you use 16-inch balloons and then fill a lot of water in it. Just so it doesn't float away. It can hold the weight of the helium. Alright, here we go. Here's our weight. Now let's put this bouquet together. So let me see. I will start with my jumbo and get it to the perfect height. This is for a 1-year-old, so I try to keep it a little above. I'm about 5'5", so I try to keep it a little above my head. So I would say about 6.5 feet. And then I'll just twist the ribbon around. Thank you, Lydia. All right, you guys are amazing. I was so nervous about this. I don't know what I was nervous about. So the next one I will do is this bubble balloon. But before we do that, you see this? This looks ugly. So what I'll do is I'll inflate a 5-inch, deflate it down to when it's about like half its size, and tie it. So you tie it, you're going to push and make a small little cluster of 3 from that 5-inch. And put it down on the base of this balloon. I like doing this with most of my balloons, apart from jumbos. I even do this on jumbos sometimes. And I can use the 260 or the ribbon that I've tied around it to wrap it. I like doing this because it just like makes it look really nice and cute. And neat. Again, neatness, guys. As neat as your work, neat work always looks nice. So if you look now, you have like a nice little cute cluster underneath the balloon. And then I'll tie it. I try to hide this under the tassel, so I'll tie it where the tassel would be. This way it's not, there's only one ribbon going down. Sometimes there'll be 2 or more, but I try to keep it to as little ribbons going down, because it just, again, neatness, it looks nicer. cut it, I'll just swirl the ribbon so it looks nice even if it shows a little bit. There we have it. We have the second balloon. Now we'll place our foil mylars. I like doing the same thing with these. I like putting 5 inches on their bases. Just quick thing again. Inflate the 5-inch, deflate it where it's very squishy. And then push it, twist it in half. And the other twisted half, you're going to twist it in half again. Take the end and wrap it around. You have like a little 5-inch cluster again. Here we go. See, it looks cute. What do you guys think? Is it too much? And then I'm going to use some of the other 16-inch helium balloons that I inflated and just kind of stagger them. And then I'll tie a knot on this staggered separate bouquet that I've created. And then I'll tie that somewhere on this ribbon as well. This mom just specifically wanted 1 jumbo. Normally my bouquets have a minimum of 3 jumbos. But mom was very specific about just wanting 1. So we only have 1 jumbo here. Otherwise there's several tassels that you have that you can hide the ribbons into. But if you don't have it, any place to hide it, you can always curl it. It still looks cute. And again, I like cutting these nozzles at the end of the balloon. I just think they look a lot cleaner that way. Perfect. So we have Minnie Mouse here. Now we have our orbs. So we'll add our orbs last. I'm going to take, can you guys see the whole thing? Here you go. I'm going to take my other 2 balloons, foil and foiler, tie that knot, and then tie it along with the balloon again. Go. And then we have our orbs that we're going to add. So you can add your orbs anywhere. I think I like it like one right here. Tie 2 knots just to make sure that these ribbons are secure. Just never know on a windy day. Wind is not your friend, my friend. This is going a lot lower. So what I'm going to do to hide this, because there's several knots here now, is make the same cluster. I think I'll use blossom and pink this time. Make the same little cluster of balloons. Not too much. Thank you. Looks amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, this is inflated on me. Des, I have a sprinter van, a long extended sprinter van. And we are most likely getting another one. So our fleet is growing, even though it's just 2 vans. And I'm super excited about that. So we have an extended high roof Sprinter van, and we can fit about 100 feet of garland in that van, or several of these big bouquets. But these honestly also fit in a large SUV. So if you have a large SUV, that also works. A lot of parents come and pick these up. So these are also great for pickup, grab and goes, just like the garlands. So I twisted 2 clusters together. Now I'm going to twist those clusters on this ribbon so I can hide some of the, and I'm not too worried about the length, because again, it's for a 1-year-old. The chances are mom and dad are either going to put this behind a high chair, or they're going to have the baby sit in front of it. Lastly, what I do, and this happens with all of our bouquets, is we have these little tags. So it has our logo on the front, it has all our information and QR code in the back. And I'll put one of these tags on at the base, or at the base, sometimes at the base of the balloon, sometimes just at the base of the garland. This is a repeat client. This is her 3rd kiddo, and she gets balloons every year. So just one place is more than enough. It comes with a little hole. I tie it on. So there you go. Now people know where the balloon bouquet is from. So normally at a party, when people come around like, oh, this is great. Who made this? Where'd you get this from? There's the information right there. As you can see, this orb right there, it's not looking. Where are you getting your vans from? Good place. I got my van from Mercedes. I have the Mercedes Sprinter. I got a great deal. I feel like I got a great deal. I pay about $1,000 for it monthly, and it's saved me so much money. You know, when I was at the Tough Flex experience, one thing in your Millionaire Mindset class with Tiffany Donovan from Confetti Castle, one thing that she said, she's like, how many of you guys are afraid of going into a space thinking you can't afford it, or getting a van because you think you can't afford it? And many hands were up, mine being one of them, right? But one thing I've learned, when you expand, we're like fish. We just pretty much take the whole space. So it's just, once you expand, it pushes you to become bigger and do more, and it brings in more business. I realized the time for me to realize when that I needed a van was, I was renting U-Hauls every weekend, and I was spending about $300 to $500 altogether every weekend just renting a U-Haul. Made no sense. So this van has saved me money, if anything, and I've never worried about how I'm going to pay for it. The business kept coming. So for me, the van was a great investment. And if you feel like that your business is ready to go to that stage, it's scary. Change is always scary, but it's so worth it. I mean, so worth it. So there we go. We have nice pink balloons. We have a custom balloon that says happy first. We have happy birthday, Olivia. And let's move this a little further behind so I can show you guys what it looks like all together. Here we go. Get out of the way. We have our nice balloon bouquet ready to go. You'll get some nice cute pictures. And it didn't take too long. How long did it take? Maybe an hour? Yeah, just an hour. And that's because I was talking. Normally I'll just get all of these out. Do I rent a space I'm currently working from home. This is my basement that you're witnessing. But we have signed a lease on a place. It's a 3,000 square feet place, and we're ready to move out. It's currently in my house. This is my 1,000 square feet completely done basement. So I got very lucky that I had this space. Otherwise I would have moved a lot sooner. But we're ready to move out, and I think my husband's going to kill me if I keep balloons in here. Yeah, that's not gonna end well. So we're ready to leave. I also have this little tassel that matches. So I'm just gonna put this on the bottom just to add a little something to it. Again, this presentation is everything, guys. Look how cute this looks. And once the baby is sitting in front of it, it's just gonna look super cute in pictures too. Thank you guys. Any other questions before I sign off? Would you mind sharing what something like this would go for? This is $450. I sell this for $450 plus delivery. I have basic prices. There's 5 tiers. I picked that up from, again, one of Sarah Mayer's Bright Balloon podcast that she had. Forget the name of the company she had on. But I have 5 tiers. There's, this is the 4th one. This is the 4th one. So my bouquets go from $150 all the way till $750, and unless somebody wants a custom one and then they're being very specific. For these, usually there's price tiers, and they'll just tell me how much they want to, what the theme is, what colors the kid like, other things. This is a 1-year-old mom just said Minnie Mouse pinks and purples, so that's what they're getting. But the more information I get, the more customized I can make it. But at the same time, I'm not stressing about, oh, I don't have this balloon. Because let's say if I didn't have the Minnie Mouse balloon, I'd print Minnie Mouse vinyl with my Cricut, or I'd use a different Minnie Mouse balloon if I had that. Like, there's nothing specific that the client is requesting. It makes my life easier, and the clients love it too. It gives me more of a creative palette to work with. All right, who was the podcast? It's Sarah, the Bright Balloon. If you go on Spotify, Sarah Meyer, I'm pronouncing her name. She said, I listen to her podcast all the time, and I can't pronounce her name, but the Bright Balloon podcast. She gives such excellent tips, and I personally apply them on my business, and they really help. Amalia, my Instagram name is Wowlloons. It's WOWLLOONS. And Mom's Food. What Cricut do you have? I have the 3.0. Is that what it's called? This one right here. Just a basic Cricut. Nothing special. Nothing special. Any other questions, guys? Is this my full-time job? I just recently quit my full-time job. So yes, for now it is my full-time job. It wasn't until now, and I was working full-time, I was going to school full-time, and I was doing this full-time. But I just decided it was time. It was time to focus more on the business, and it's been about 2 months since I did that, and it's been go. It's non-stop. We're just so lucky and so fortunate. September is almost fully booked. Weekday jobs, weekend jobs. October is looking the same. So super excited about it. It was a risk. It was risky. It was scary. Again, change is scary, but it turned out amazing. Can I write over here? Like, everybody's asking for my Instagram name. Joe, you've got to tell everybody my Instagram name. It's Wowlloons. So it's WOWLLOONS. I'm not even wearing a Wowlloons shirt. Should have worn that. How do you cultivate weekday clients? Honestly, we've been in business for 3 years. At this point, it's word of mouth. My very first corporate order was with Fit Factory. It was their grand opening in Hudson, which is an hour and a half away from me. And I rented a giant U-Haul and took all those balloons there. And I came home, and then I was told by the person who hired me that I installed the balloons in the wrong space. Yeah, that wasn't fun. So I went at 11 p.m. at night to move that garland to the other spot. Good thing was I didn't have to shape it or anything. I just took it off, took the command hooks and the it was on also somewhat of it. It was on glass, so the suction cups off, and moved it around. But that was and then once you're in the corporate, once your name gets in the corporate world, everybody knows everybody, at least over here in Boston. So we've been lucky. We've been getting, and that's where the weekday jobs come in. Weekday jobs rarely are private events. They're mostly corporate events, and September is a huge corporate month with lots of activations and other things happening. Thank you for putting my Instagram name there, user 998273477. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Elsa. Thank you so much. Where do you get your balloons? I get my balloons from Having a Party. I get my balloons, any accessories I need. It's Having a Party. They're so. I live in Massachusetts. They're in New York, so their deliveries the very next day. Even like I sometimes get my balloons in less than 24 hours. They're quick. They're easy. If you don't see something on their website, call them. They're usually like so friendly. It's just a nice voice to hear, and you'll get what you need. So I get my 99% of my balloons from Having a Party. You couldn't find my IG. Found. Where did you get the giant? These giant. Oh, the big shiny balls. Is that what you're talking about? Because these are from Having a Party. Yes, big shiny balls. That's what they're called. That's the website I got them from. They're not local. They come from China or Thailand or somewhere. There was language on it that I couldn't read. Any other questions, guys? Any other questions? I'll stay on for 2 more minutes. And if you guys have any questions, follow me on Instagram. Go ahead and ask. Joe has given me a lot of confidence, and maybe I'll do more lives. Or maybe I'll do a live once we move into our new space and show you guys around. All right. All right, guys. I'm gonna sign. Do more. You were so great and engaging. Thank you, Fortune. That makes me feel so good. I was so nervous. Thank you. That's my husband signing on, giving me some confidence too. Thank you, Wakas. Love you. He works for me. He's my free employee who works for me and does a lot of work without any pay. Thank you guys so much. It was so wonderful coming on over here. And follow Having a Party. Follow me on Instagram. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I always try to answer as many as I can. And I would love to stay in touch with all of you guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye.